Hi guys, Serial Simmer here. Today I'm going to be just doing this voiceover for the Agave Abode Reno that I did a few days ago. This is the base game starter home that I used to typically start with when I only had base game. So yeah, there's lots of really fond memories in Agave Abode for me starting to play The Sims 4. Yeah. So here we are just gonna reno a whole bunch of stuff, and I did actually make a specific sim called Renovator for this series. I'm hoping to be able to post pretty frequently to the Space Game series and kind of update those. So hopefully anyone who is on console and maybe doesn't have a lot of packs will be able to download this and play with some different starter homes here. This one does end up being starter home price, but I had a glitch in the game where it wasn't updating as I was building how much the lot cost. So I would build, and then it would say it was still $16,000, and then I would add a bunch more, not realizing that it wasn't updating. So I did end up building this house, and I was like, wow, I'm so shocked that I was able to fit all this in here for this price. And then I went to live mode and then back to build mode, and it updated, and it was $5,000 over starter home price. So it was 25,000 simoleons instead of 20. So I had to go through and delete about $5,000 worth of stuff, which was so much. Also, by the way, I am a little sick today. I'm sitting here snuggling with my puppy, and I've got a box of Kleenexes next to me and a glass of water for when my throat's getting a little scratchy. So I'm really sorry if I sound a little icky today. I've definitely been fighting off some kind of cold virus lately. It just is what it is, and I really want to get these videos up, so we are just working through it today. Oh yeah, that's right. There was this other really strange thing, going back to the video here. There's this other really strange glitch that I found where I couldn't clone the wallpaper that was on this build initially. So I ended up going just with this smooth stucco base game. And I start with this kind of, I'm gonna say it's got a little more green in it, at least to me, and on my monitor, it appears a little bit more green. Yeah, so I started with that and then ended up going with more of a warm color that I just thought fit the Oasis Springs surroundings more. And then kind of letting the plants that are green sort of be that pop of a cool color. So the house is very warm. And yeah, here we are just trying a million things. I tried so many things and ended up cutting out a lot of it. I left as much sort of little glimpses into me fiddling with things as I could, because I wanted it to be real. I didn't want to edit out everything and try to make this look perfect. It definitely wasn't a perfect building experience. I immediately after doing this space game reno went and did Creek Banna in Willow Creek, and that one went so much more smoothly because I had a picture that I was looking at as sort of an inspiration. So I knew where I wanted to go with that one. But this one I was sort of just fiddling around, seeing what I liked, what looked good. And yeah, here we are placing a billion columns, and I'm sitting here looking at that going, oh girl, don't do that. You're wasting so much money. But like I said, I had that weird glitch where it was oh, you're still around $16,000, and I wasn't watching the exact amount to see if it was changing. So I thought, oh, that didn't add too much. And I just kept going, adding more and more. And then, like I said, at the end, I ended up having to delete quite a bit of furniture and interior things because I was about $5,000 over. This back patio area, I absolutely adored. I spent so much money, especially for a starter home, on this area of the build. So I guess that if you downloaded this build and were playing in it, you could probably get rid of this lattice work and probably save quite a bit of money. But I just really loved it. I think the view from this starter home is so beautiful, with the creek behind it, and the fishing spot, and just the blues and sort of the orangey red sand color. I just think it's really beautiful. So I just wanted to capitalize on that more than just some windows that were backed right up to the edge of the lot. So I did end up building that whole deck back there. I think it's about 3 tiles deep. So it's a decent amount of space. It's not super crazy deep or anything, but I do think it would be a wonderful place for your Sims to hang out, maybe have dinner out there, spend some time as a family. Speaking of families, this house is technically a 3-bedroom house, so you would be able to fit like maybe a child's room along with I did set up one of the rooms with an infant crib. Um it's got a decent sized kitchen as well in this starter. It's got a pretty good amount of space. It also ends up having 2 bathrooms, one kind of like for the guests and the kids, and then another that is a excuse me, that is an ensuite for the primary bedroom. So yeah, I think in total you could probably fit like 2 adult Sims in the primary bedroom, at least a couple child Sims or, baby, toddler, however you want, kids in the large front room there, and then maybe like one more kid in sort of what I'm setting up as the office area. So you could have up to probably 3 kids in this house comfortably. I'm sure you could do like a bunk bed in the office space or maybe even a couple bunk beds in the larger bedroom. So yeah, here we are just like kind of setting up the floor plan, and you can see I'm like making walls and then deleting walls. I like to when I'm sorry about that. I had a little tickle in my throat. Yeah, I like to um sort of create a really tight floor plan with a bunch of walls when I'm initially building, and then I go back and I delete some of the walls to create more of an open floor plan, also to save money. It's about $60 per wall, so that can get really expensive if you have like a pretty closed off floor plan. Oh, and here we go. We're ka-chinging. We are adding some simoleons to this household so that I can keep doing all of these counters that I think that I can do in this starter home. I remember being so shocked by this, and I'm like, you should have listened to your intuition. Like, you knew better. That was not going to work. Even at this point, I had probably already spent the whole $20,000. So yeah, we go back and we do end up having to take out quite a lot. I do end up with a chair at the computer space, but I don't end up with a computer. I was really disappointed that I didn't end up having the money for that. We end up having to get rid of these like nicer appliances for some cheaper ones. And we do end up getting rid of quite a few of those counters at the end. So yeah, here we are just kind of opening things up to be a little bit more of an open floor plan. And then we're going to start adding some doors in so we can kind of see how that lays out. Moving lights around. This was such a fun house to build. It was such a pain to edit. There was so much spinning around and stuff that I do that I didn't really realize that I did when I was building until I was actually editing this. But I'll like edit a room. You see, I just did it right there. I'll edit a room and then I will kind of spin the camera around different angles to see if I like the way that it looks from all the different angles. And oh, maybe I'll adjust it and put the counter on the other side or make a little tweak here and there. And there's just so much footage. This is my first build that I've ever edited. And so that's kind of been like an interesting process. I have so much respect for like professional sim builders, like people who do this as their job where they make and edit these videos. It's incredible. I think it's so amazing. And it's just so much more work than you could really know until you try to do it yourself. So yeah, props to you guys. Here we are editing outside some terrain. I wanted to I obviously needed to get rid of all of the weird marks from the previous house, but I also just wanted to kind of change it up a little bit. I was realizing that a lot of the browns were actually turning out looking very green on this Oasis Springs sand. So I had to go with more of like a red based brown to be able to actually get it to look brown and like dirt without it looking like there was like grass or something growing in it. Because in Oasis Springs, obviously there's not much of that. So I left a couple patches out front of that. And here we are trying to add the computer, and then it just like wasn't working with that laptop. It would like say it placed it, but it wouldn't show up. I feel like that's so Sims 4. Like you just like are constantly dealing with these silly glitches and silly like having to find workarounds for things and stuff. It's like this love-hate relationship with this game always, I feel like. So aggravating, but also just like the best game of all time. I love this game. Here we are trying to add the shower combo. This ends up going away and I end up just doing a shower in the primary bathroom and only a bathtub, which is this bathtub, in the kids' or like the main bathroom. because I did add the infant crib, I felt like we really needed to have a bathtub. So I know that was a little bit more of a splurge, and I could have just done like a powder bath or like just a toilet and a sink in one of the bathrooms, and then maybe done just the shower in the primary. But I really felt like since we had this infant crib, we needed to have the bathtub. It's an absolute essential. And I think you can bathe them in the sink. So maybe that's not an absolute essential. You'll have to let me know in the comments below if that is an essential thing, having a bathtub, or if you can bathe them in the sink. If anyone knows, please comment and let me know. So yeah, then I did realize that changing table is actually only in the Growing Together pack, which I did pre-order. It was expensive, wasn't it, guys? But yeah, I can't help myself with that. With like a generations pack, I had to have it. So definitely pre-ordered that a while ago. But yeah, isn't that silly that the changing tables are only in the pack, not in base game? Yeah, this bedroom ends up being blue. I definitely find myself being guilty of using a lot of blue in The Sims. I don't know what it is. There's a lot of good blue swatches, isn't there? I feel like there could be a lot better like pink swatches and yellow swatches. Like I always find myself wanting to use those colors, and then I like start to, and then they're too bright and saturated, or maybe like kind of juvenile looking and not really grown up enough. And so I end up using like a lot of blues and more almost neutral colors, blues, greens, browns, things like that in like more grown up spaces. So here we are just trying to figure out where we're going to add a dining table. I did try to keep it kind of small. I was going to do one specifically in the kitchen, so it was kind of like more of an eat-in kitchen, but I thought we have this little space kind of in front of the door here. Why don't we try to use that? And yes, this toddler seat, or this kid's seat, I guess kids can use it as well, does end up going away, unfortunately. I love the way that this is all decorated right now with the dresser and everything in the master. I was like feeling so proud of myself for being able to pull all of this off, but lo and behold, it was just a glitch. We had actually invested too much money in columns and would not be able to keep half of this furniture in the end. If you guys have been having that glitch, you should also comment down below and let me know if you're watching this video, if you've also had that glitch. And hopefully it goes away really soon. I'm wondering if maybe I had like an outdated mod or something that was causing it. Oh, here we go with the columns again, adding a couple more. I think I ended up keeping those ones too. I just like couldn't keep myself away from the columns in this build, apparently. This fan does stay. I felt like it was very essential in Oasis Springs that you have a fan for airflow. I imagine like being able to open those doors to the outside and like letting a breeze through and having the fan going and the creek in the background. And it's so nice. Like this would be such a great starter home. Also love the landscaping. We just did some debug landscaping, so that actually didn't cost any money. And then we realized, oh my gosh, we spent like $5,000 too much, and started deleting a bunch of things from the inside of the house. So now we can kind of go through and see where we actually ended up. This is our exterior. I'm really happy with the way the exterior ended up looking. I do wish I could have had a few more things on the porch. And here's where we ended up with the interior. I did manage to keep the TV, which Ron is using. The kitchen is pretty good given everything. I did edit back some of the counters. We have this cute little door in here, which I thought was really great for kind of like an older style home, which leads to the study, and 3 French doors on the back of the build that lead to that beautiful patio. The really spacious kids room in the front of the house. The primary bedroom is pretty spacious. It should fit everything you need for sure. And it has an ensuite. So yeah, go ahead and download this from the gallery if you'd like to. My EAID is Serial Simmer, and this is just called the Agave Abode Reno. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this build. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!